Hi, welcome to the fourth lecture of ECO101. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about trade and then look into the theory of comparative advantage, which is deemed as one of the basic economic concepts related to trading. So, we all know trading is one of the most apparent and important things of our world today, and we just cannot think of a world without trading these days. Every country is trading with each other to get the best out of each other. Countries choose and specialize what they're best at producing and then trade with other countries on whatever else they need, where the other countries they are trading with is probably specializing on those other products. And like this, trading has become one of the most relevant and important aspects of our world today. However, have you ever wondered how on the very first place countries decide how to start this trading relationship with one another and how to get the best from each other? It's quite interesting actually, and it's backed by very simple economic concepts that we will be going through today. Once again, it's a very relevant fact and concept for all of us, and something I feel we all should know as a part of general knowledge. Having said that, let's begin with the theory of comparative advantage and its origins. This theory was actually first developed by a famous British economist called David Ricardo back in the 19th century, where he argued that a country boasts its economic growth the most by focusing on industry in which it has the most substantial comparative advantage. To understand this, let's quickly recall what we have learned from Lecture 2. In Lecture 2, we looked into PPF. Remember, in PPF, the opportunity cost was increasing as we are moving along the PPF curve. That is, for producing more of one good, we had to give up more and more of the other good. So now here, the law of comparative advantage tells us that a person or a country should produce that particular good for which it has a lower opportunity cost than anyone else. Let me explain this to you a bit more practically. I mean, look, no one is good at everything, right? For instance, you are best at producing, say, pizza, and I am best at, say, sandwich. Then why don't we trade between us? That is, when you feel like having a sandwich, take it from me, since I'm better at producing it. And when I feel like having a pizza, I come to you. That is how the idea goes, to put it very simply. Now let's take a look at this a bit more formally with an example and develop a concrete understanding of the theory. Let's consider two countries, Bangladesh and Japan, and then let's try to work it out. And let's also imagine both Bangladesh and Japan produces only two goods. One, t-shirt, and two, shoes, just as you can see on the table on this slide. I also hope you remember the calculation formula of opportunity cost that we have covered in the tutorial video, and I've once again copy-pasted that same formula on this slide for you. So as you can see on the table, Japan can produce 100 t-shirts or 200 shoes using all its resources. And for Bangladesh, it's 80 t-shirts or just 100 shoes using all its resources. Now, from the very first look, you must be thinking Japan is better at producing both the things, right? Well, this is called absolute advantage. You may want to note this down. But please note this. However, Japan is enjoying absolute advantage. It doesn't mean that it won't gain from trading with Bangladesh. And this is where the idea of comparative advantage comes in. So let's see how it works. First, we calculate the opportunity cost for both the products and for both the countries. We will be using the same formula that we have been using and which you can see on the slide as well. The formula is very simple, as you know. It's simply the change in decrease of one good divided by the change in increase of the other good. Now, if Japan produces t-shirts, then it must decrease, give up, or sacrifice shoes. So, to find the opportunity cost of Japan's t-shirt, we simply take what it is giving up or decreasing and divide it by what it's producing or increasing. So, in this case of Japan producing t-shirt, it will be 200 divided by 100, where the answer comes out to be 2. This is given in red on your slide. Now, what is this 2? In plain words, it means that Japan has to give up 2 shoes for every t-shirt it produces. So this is the opportunity cost. And like this, we need to find all the opportunity cost for all the products and for both the countries. Just as you can see on the slides, it's already been done for you and it's there. The opportunity costs are all in red. So you can think of this as step 1, which is once again simply all about calculating the opportunity costs. So that's step 1 for you. Now, if you're done with step 1, let's move on to step 2, which is much more simpler. In this step, you need to simply compare the opportunity costs from country to country, such as for producing one t-shirt, Bangladesh has to give up or sacrifice 1.25 shoes, right? Whereas for Japan, it has to give up 2 shoes just for producing one t-shirt. So, in the case of producing t-shirt, Japan has to sacrifice more than Bangladesh. Okay then, what about the case of shoes? Well, here you can see that Bangladesh has to give up 0.80 t-shirts for every shoe it produces, whereas Japan only needs to give up 0.50 t-shirts for every shoe it produces. So this time we can see a completely different story. We can see Bangladesh is sacrificing more than Japan when it comes to producing shoes. Having said all this, you now take a moment and use your common sense about who should produce what and trade between themselves. I mean, look at this. See how simple and realistic the theory of comparative advantage can prove to be when we see it like this. So the answer to this is pretty simple. Bangladesh should specialize and produce t-shirts because it has a lower opportunity cost in producing t-shirts compared to Japan. Where on the other hand, Japan should produce shoes as it sacrifices or has a lower opportunity cost for producing shoes than Bangladesh. And then these two countries may decide to trade between each other. And finally, therefore, we can say that the comparative advantage theory holds in our example. With this, I end today's lecture and hope the theory of comparative advantage has instilled in your brains. Thank you. Goodbye now.